CMC, who I freaking love, everybody loves, he can become, I saw this on ML Football, he can become the 4th player in history to have at least 4 seasons of 1,000 yards rushing and 500 yards receiving. It's only happened 3 times in the history of the NFL. So again, 4 times, he would be the 4th player ever to have 4 seasons or more with 1,000 yards rushing, 500 yards receiving. Do you think that he can do it again? It's a lot. It's a lot. We haven't had a 1,000-yard rusher in a minute.
Here's the thing. I'm not going to say that I don't think he can do it again because anything is possible. I'm just not
Kevin
sure.
Garnett, baby.
I'm not sure if it's going to happen. When you look at the 49ers, I think the one thing that you get is that it's a well-balanced type of playmaking. Like, you get it from just about any position you can get hit with the bang, right? And so it all depends on how they choose to exploit their matchups. And I think that's what made Kyle Shanahan go after certain pieces. So when you look at CMC, if the teams are expecting him to do such and such and such, don't get it twisted. I mean, he'll overcome those expectations, but I expect teams to come out and try to stack the box right away. Don't let CMC activate, right? So then how does Kyle Shanahan counter against that? Well, then you take a look at some of these other weapons. You take a look at lining Debo back up in the backfield and interchanging those parts. So I think the offense as a whole is going to be super effective. Can CMC accomplish 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving? Yeah, it's possible, but he doesn't have to. So I think you want it to be as organic as possible. If it happens, if it doesn't happen, as long as he remains effective and forcing that defense to play a certain way and wearing that tail down, we're good, man. He doesn't have to get those yards. He just has to remain effective.
I like what Sonia says here. Kyle already said he wants to limit CMC and try to keep him healthy as possible. Will he do it? That's the question. Depends on Mitchell and Mason's health. Not sure Mason's going to be a go this week, but as long as you got Mitchell or Mason at TDP, I think the back end of the running back rotation has excelled throughout training camp and preseason. So I am excited about that. Now, the only 3 players to ever accomplish that feat that we were just talking about, Marshall Faulk, Thurman Thomas, Tiki Barber.
Oh.
Tiki Barber.
Wait, Roger Craig wasn't 1,000?
4 times. So you have to have 4
Gotcha.
seasons of 1,000 yards rushing and 500 yards receiving.
Gotcha.
But yeah, Craig's up there on a lot of lists. But I don't think he got that one because of the rushing. I don't think he had the 4 1,000 yards.
But again, if you look at those guys that you named, man, they were literally like the focal points of those offenses. And the question would be, is CMC the focal point? And I think he can be, but he's not the only focal point. So like with Marshall Faulk, I mean, they had Torrey Holt and a couple of wide receivers. Like they had Isaac Bruce, I believe, during that time. You look at Thurman Thomas. You look at the Bills, they had Andre Reed. I can't think maybe James Lofton during that time. Look at me date myself. I'm getting older. And who's the other person?
Thurman Thomas is one of my most
number 34, baby.
I think he's incredible. He doesn't get the credit that a lot of people.
He will never get it because he was never able to accomplish. Like they got to the Super Bowl 4 times, so that whole Bills team has been tainted. Like even Jim Kelly won't get the credit that he deserved. And I thought he was a dog at quarterback.
Bruce Smith, I mean, he's one of the best ever. He's on my Mount Rushmore of pass rushers.
Defensive end. Exactly, right? And so, like, who was the other guy you named?
So it was Marshall Faulk, Thurman Thomas, Tiki Barber.
And then Tiki Barber, I can't even tell you who played that. All I remember was that Tampa Bay, that Giants defense, right?
Yeah.
Like, I can't even tell you who was on his offense during that time.
He was consistent, man.
He had to be that focal point.
The 49ers Rush Podcast.